anything that is more than the plan and the menu plan for the week, then it's at your cost. The bacon and everything that we did also last night. And what I see, I've noticed, which because I always go with my daughter, and what we've noticed, the cost was quite high. So maybe for those of you that live in New Zealand, the most economical, the most cheapest supermarket to go to, which offers the same thing, but really depends on the name and the chain of that supermarket. But one thing that I found last night, because I've never been to New World here in New Zealand or Australia, that was my first weekend. I must thank my husband because he kept saying, "No, I went to New World yesterday. It was really good. Like they had all of the stuff." And this is about 5 minutes drive from where we are. From where this Airbnb is. So we went here yesterday, and it's amazing. The difference in cost. I wasn't checking every single item, but we were buying the normal thing that we usually buy, like the eggs, bacon, the sausage, the chicken, and all this offering that we did the last time. And we did exactly the same because we had 2 trolley full for each Airbnb. And when we came to the counter, to the cashier, and I just remembered when we were in Auckland and Pack and Save, when we did go through with all that for the whole time that we're going to be here. We're going to be here for 9 days. At that time, we were there for 10 days, like 1 day extra. The cost. It cost us like nearly 1,000 or 900 to 1,000 after we did those trolley back in Pack and Save. But for here, that one trolley on its own was 400 something, and for the cost of the 2 Airbnb was still lesser than the cost of 1 Airbnb items and meal offering that we did. So there was quite a saving, a real saving on our part. And those are the little things and the little tips that you can find out, that you can do. They can help you plan your family. And some of you do your travel that comes with your work. Your travel because of your work. And just check which travel makes you stay longer in that country, so you can extend a bit and take your family with you. And I know I spoke a little bit on the airline stuff, working for the airline. When you fly or when you go into duty travel, things are provided, accommodation are provided, like it's being paid for. So try and take your family with you because you expose them to this experience. And they can do that. For me, that is my excitement, just to see somebody who haven't done, and to see that added knowledge or added, info into their life, that they know something that they never known before. That excitement I find, and it's really, quite interesting too, because we assume that everybody's on the same, but when you actually have those experiences with certain people or where you are, then it really make you appreciate your exposure, and also really pushes you to share the little you have to benefit others around you.
And sa tuna mi korkoro ani do tal ka mali se barwe wango pero wa bule tuga no le wo Hamilton ya mo wa wai kato na timi na chief ko sa na mga area mo ito chukila ni ko wa bule tuga ni kemi pero kita mo taga tu na tell sa na non dala ko do na kami bingo ke makai se na revolution ni na ilapo ke wa na sinigandaro ni tu ni Dona kama na plenta kama plenta na bilang lako. So kalau mana may suwa, sa weekend na tuna may korkor na doon may taon. Kaya mana na sini plenta ka, iba tuna ko na pero. Kaya sini plenta na kawan na mulia. Kung nakita na ba mo yung sa muli. Ngayon na ko biya kulit kita na ka. E mundo mo mulia. Sa hotel to na numupa sa na ilaw ko ta may. Kung sari ka bibi na numutuwa ka na mula ko doon na banua sa numu basic ko na ko na tina bila tu na kakero no toro tu ani do mandanga to mate ko kalau bango mo biu na bono biti berkamo no mo passport beti ko na bono na to beti ko kina tu ngana bono na to tiko kina no passport bala no na kene travel kina iko kila na tiko kina be no mo tele bono ko so na kai do bila da mo gale era buno kin do ko kina ena motuka mandanga so no sa do no motuka do na tal ka sa ba di na vida na ma sa che ero che voglio latte mai trofi na ora che so so kina na latte me che ero distribuita che na me ko kina latte che non mo ko na non mobile tu na taxi era taxi ka che di no ko e o je half an hour sai so ko okay taro ko ka ba na tu la sa okay mulai na taxi mo okay taro okay di mana taxi okay itu betar betul taxi na rogi muli na campo do ya na mo ke to travel kina ya ni na travel overseas da turmanwa goi do tan na level of risk che bale na no munga garoni no mumpe la lai o si pek la lai na talboni sono uno che non le ndabi kina come no buka e tu sono na tan there are pockets behind the seat era mule da kina Wadana kina na security areas uno kuna bitu kina na kake de tuna no muta e kuna biuta na de tuna na missing ya sono mo ne abisa na dua che magari bimbi na kaya era biukina na no bag na no telefoni se na no passport na tulinda iPad me come tuba e sono kaya kuna do mule da bitu e na mo do ni che vostro travel e rambo io tipo na volvo che lo schedule o claro bevo che weekend for us that we are traveling overseas sometimes for the program that we go to Australia or come to New Zealand or go even British when you are first travelers most of the time that we miss out on little things and can be very costly so na mo na garoni che va go tipo babalani weekend uno che dopo la cucina mi dava giù non mi perdico sono non in dopo una motoca e roni vorrei motoca che tu sai su come volevo e sono cavare uno di America sono andato tant'altra se tu tanto mai erdo mai che la che passport vuole sono che devo che mi queda e non da travel tipo travel light e una metti una listing che volevo che magari non è un telefono non la chiediamo turchina non la chiediamo la kina e dobbiamo but io una che la si riclami dovrebbe richiedere excitement sono una che è too busy e dopo una che da dove va messo la e ma cosa dalla e sono una che sa duringa e da tipo mai piccola che non raki di som che non raki di mondo che non raki di sasara sono una che dopo lei sono qua e dopo Marigetta tutta la campo non da la quella di buoni sono una da buoni politico e da si vede da expiry date da quello mai io parla di tutta la sala cosa vuol dire o che to una carta di visa si tutta la cavo me ko una carta sabe dia sabe se no so na tips di travel na binaka weekend na hospital mo taka ko ka roti ko na tuki na hospital mo and mataka ni sin ko we will get to weekend for those of you that we are watching this program family table talk and as you travel together as families Radin was sharing the Airbnb going to a supermarket and buy a lot of things that they are very cheap rather than going and eat out or go to fast food.
I mean, you do your meal plan, do your meal plan and identify. So what we have done, like if it's for breakfast, if it's bread, butter, Vegemite, or if it's going to be a full breakfast of egg and bacon with sausage, all those things. So you have to write out your menu and then you go out and itemize the list and that's what you buy. Because you're buying the list to the menu. Don't go and buy without the menu because when you buy without the menu, then you assume that you need that, you need that, you need that. So your assumptions can be very costly. So it's good to plan out your meals, and not only during travel, even at home. We do this at home. I mean, I do this at home. Even for home, you don't really necessarily need to travel to be able to do this kind of planning. And this is a small planning that helps you save your finances. This is a small planning that helps you save a few dollars from your grocery list that can go towards your travel saving or can go towards any other thing that you would like to achieve. So even at home, write out your meal plan for the week or for the month. So, like at home, what we do a roster for the week for the whole people, children that live in our house, except the adults, and they are asked to do all that. So, apart from that, in the roster for duties at home, then we have the roster for devotion. As and when we have a devotion, who's going to be the one who's going to be leading, making sure that everybody's going to be seated and be the person responsible on what transpire through their devotion. Because it's family table talk, I would like to share the minute details when it comes to family, because sometimes we take for granted that it's easy to do or everybody's doing it. But if you haven't done it, then at least it's food for thought for you that you can take it on and implement it in your family. So we have those type of rosters, the duty roster, the devotion roster, and also the meal plan. The meal plan we work together with my daughter-in-law. So in a week, she will be sending me, the menu, recommended menu that she does for the whole week. And when she sent me for the whole week, and then if I say, okay, this is good to go, or you switch this, there's too much oily food there, can you put in the boiled food? And then looking at the weather, if it's rainy season back in Fiji, then we'll increase more soupy food. Then, it can be soup chicken, it can be belly, boiled with lamb neck, it can be any other thing that as long as it's watery and more soup. And that's how I work with her. So through that menu, once finalized, and she'll take that meal plan for the whole week, and then she will send me back, the need list. So she will go through the pantry, go through the kitchen, check the crops and everything that we have, and then she'll get back and say, all these things are there. I will just need these few items for this menu. And when we work together that way, like it really, really decreases. It makes a big impact on my finances because I'm working and sometimes I'm very busy. I don't even have the time to check all the pantry cupboards. I didn't even have, that time to go out and really check what the portions of meat that I still have in my freezer. So as and when I want food to be cooked, I'm working like without checking sometimes. So having her on board, which I'm really, really grateful, thank you, Nadia, for doing that for me. And she comes up with all these things. And on top of that, what we do catering as well for my TV, or the company that we work in. We prepare their meals we prepare their lunch for the 3 days. And that's when my daughter comes in, and she does her own menu, she does her own buying of her own ingredients that she does there. Then we have 2 weeks in a whole month that we do cooking for our mission team. We have our foreign divisions that send funds in, and we, through my daughter-in-law again, Nate, which I send her the funds, and she coordinates this for me. So whatever that we're having as a family for that week, we increase the volume or whatever that we're cooking to also cater for our mission people. And whether we are at home or whether we are in Fiji or whether we are out of the country, that cooking goes on regardless. So we'll find people to come and help us with it. We'll prepare everything or we'll get everything done just to do that. So that's I want to share that if you don't have a meal plan for the week and you're just cooking, kaya basta ganito na nakanga tipo na kanga available sa dolang na fridge. Say, di ko to kanaka dalibuli namin to na to evato yan na sequence ni kind na kama na be singa kiba kayo kontabe kiba kama na ko na kama wote yan do na madawa. Try and note down the expense, keep all the receipts of everything that you have done by working this way. And note down, what's the sell masina, sell na pateta, wala nga meron na pateta, meron na kg, doon na kg pateta, wala nga niko, tapos may matako, wala nga meron na kg, may buli-buli pa kalala, na rice, na suka, nakakili ko wala mo ito, someone na recipe gawa, just note down the money that you use for the day, and then try and plan, like I'm telling you today, try and plan, you plan that for the whole week, if it's hard for you to plan for 2 weeks, so for the month, try 1 week. And depending on how you get paid, whether it's weekly, fortnightly, or monthly. So after you write that down and you buy in bulk, if you have to be eating rice 2 times in that week, then you'll have to buy that rice that fits, buy in bulk, buy a 5 kg, or if you can afford it, buy a 10 kg. So what I do at home, I buy big containers. These big containers for those of us who live in Fiji, and in Suva you can find them at New World or even to some of the Chinese shops. In Suva, we have this nice Chinese shop that have a lot of little good household items. It's called Dexin, Dexin. And the one that we go to is at Garden City in Suva. You can get all these cheaper versions that when you bring home, you just label them. I know I've mentioned this, I've talked this before, but I want to bring it again today. And you label them and you keep them in your pantry. So if you buy a 10 kg rice or flour or 5 kg, you put them into this container. Just pour them in the container, seal them up properly, label it, and then you work from there. So with that 5 kg rice, it's amazing. When you buy a 5 kg and you get out with 2 meals maybe with rice, so that way, then will always be still left over. But if you buy little bits of 2 kg and 2 kg, the leftover here is very little. The tendency of just throwing it to the pot to be all cooked or just sitting idle on the shelf, and then you buy another one. You forget about this one, so it's quite costly. You go boli balalai, you go back to kile lebu, you go boli balebu, lebu deka kene rongo ni 10 kg, 5 kg, go da kene lang. You go vinda and go vinda kata kene na motor na expense na bimat nawa, ko iko boli tipo nga ina misinga, ngayon tipo nga na balsa, siya na store ko leka na mo na tipo kina. Those shops or canteens that are closer to where you stay, sometimes, or most times, they are more expensive compared to if you go to the supermarket. So those are tips of saving money. Sometimes I kind of go, okay, I'm waiting for me to get this payout, or I'm waiting for me to get my refund, my tax refund, or I'm waiting. Like you look forward to these big things that will, like to you, this is my cake. I'm going to, save money from there, or this is a big money that's going to come my way. But that comes only once in a while, and maybe once in a whole year. But when you do something about your, your life habits and your shopping habits and your management of your funds every week, this brings a much more, substantial amount of saving compared to the one-off that you can just receive that you're so reliable on. And as you say, like what I said, if you have allocated maybe $100 or $200 a week for your shopping, use the same, put it in a separate account or in a separate, money box and work within that. So whatever money that you put there, that's the money that you're going to be using for catering. I do that with my daughter-in-law because we do catering. So she has a small till, and when I send her funds, or I'll get her account and I said, okay, I'm transferring this. The money that has been sent to cater for the mission, I'm transferring to your account, for you to work with. And once she does that, she keeps, if I give her cash or money that is left from that week, she keeps it in this deal. So when we go on to the next one, she will be telling me the breakdown. This is what you have sent, got all of this, and this is the balance, and it's in the till. So, that money becomes the base for the next spend. Yeah. It's the way you manage, the way you handle. Already can deliver nila with the galingan. Kapag ko mag-open sa ulilay, okay, doon nga nagkaroon ang kinisaman doon na mata, doon nila believe. Di ko manage na kapag nakataman nila believe. Eska naging daw ara kami doon na kinisaw, may so level, may kung kaya nila believe. But as you go and get promoted or you push yourself to study so you can get better pay, if you cannot manage well the little money that you're being, paid now, like $100 or $200 that you're getting out of your pay, you cannot manage that big money. Even when you get the big money, most of us, near chita ka nakalili with the chita, balata na nung the management ka nila malili, okay, the second to nung the management ka nila malili. So take that, it's food for fun for you today. You may be living overseas, you may be living outside Fiji. The same thing, applies. Don't come abroad. The things are very cheap. They are very cheap. The tendency to overbuy or buy things that they don't use, it's there because it's very attractive. I mean, you go past the shelf and then you are just tempted to buy.
Management is when you see what you need and what you have. See, that's how to manage what you have to meet what you need. And if we don't manage well, or if we want to live a life that is over what we have, that's where the problem comes in. So, how to manage, you must see what you have. More than a catch which are very in a cow under the bigarity, can I catch you? But the Correct, Orongol was in Meche, when the Kalkoni bullet to the Burimuri, but I know to Yar to bullet to Baya, or to Yar to bullet to Baya, but the Buna and the Vidatikina. But it's the Totuat and a kite to Nana. Kimberley, good management is when you use what you have in accordance to what you need. You don't know what we have, and we live according to what we want. We just have to walk humbly and accept the fact of what we have, and we work from there. And we believe when we are faithful with the little things, then we can be faithful when we are getting promoted or getting more on what we have, and then we can little bit to do more on what we need. So that's where management comes in. And I like because I travel a lot with her and also go to the shop with her. I'm just amazed of the management of the little things that we have or what we have to make what we need. And I tell you, it's achievable. It's achievable. It can be done. And sometimes when we look at people travel and people they have things, it's not because of what they have, what they achieve. It's their management. Kaya ba na nakakendaro may wawaya na tayo na wawaya na tayo na kamo kaya tayo na money. Sila wala tayo buku alam mo kung nakali elektriko kaya tumbunga. Wala ito na biwer kanikita kita sila mo matauta. Ningaw na kita mamaroy kina na mamangi dalo to si mamangi. Masa ka mamangi. Mamangi ka. Menda mamaroy yang tua. Kaya na rin na kali elektrika na makahin tumbunga. Tumbunga kasi wala makahin ren na kinala. Sir me makahin na kami ba kurubita gitu ba. E non da do mamaroi, non da algo tua, e tu guarda non da magari attacchi ka me cookie na magasamsam. Hindi kila ke mga autoritite, separately goli, or even if we are overseas and we have a lot of money because of our pay, or even in Fiji, holding a good job. But if you don't manage well, after years of your work, after years of your achievement, what you have does not tally with what you achieve. But our experience na may lewo kilala kami, we kali yung talaga kiman mingle ba? Makaya so naman ito bigala tinaka lewo token na kinaka na may roka. Pero bigala ito balta na makaya lele ito na ni mamarwi kinahal matua. And nagkakimula ni nota tiko and pura-pura na bicara natural. Ele una bicara itu ke, bukan do bitu bicara kami dah tahu low rate mata dah lewu. Bukan do low rate mata lewu. Gua nak kaya bukan sul pulu kina. We give everything on what the people see in public. But we must always focus on our family in our private life and what we do privately in the secret place and maro itu pembuli and donanona. And the beauty one ready na tumata. Balik bulit maru kina tua. Biar na mo tua ito na kaya pa kalu. Ito binakata siya, di ko mo tua. Managing well. Ero ni so si karu kalu. Yang balik terus na mo tua kina no na. Garam na kalita. Na bukan itu na kaya basika. Yang kina mo.
We cannot be that affected. We've lived with the Indo-Fijians. Kita mata pakai kenta, lalu kita mata pakai kenta. Kita boleh nonton bola, itu kakek dan wasiat. It's like whatever you have is for everyone. It's supposed to be for everyone. And if you don't give it or if you don't share it, then you become it's like okay. Sebenarnya menandai juga bahaya, selama masih tetap dipikirkan. And orang tua, resepnya kan ingkar apa nak keluar enda garama. Yang nanti orang kau rida nanam nomor tua. they're very wise, the management of their life from a very early age. I mean, I've always had friends, individual friends from school, high school, and
You see,
to see, and then even at work, I've always had them as friends, and I love that. Belet na kaya sa na logo ng bula batikira. Belet yung rin na baro ni non rambula. They can be your friends, but when you're going by your meal, we are if I take Fijians with us, and then only gonna feel okay, my kailan dalam kita na lunch.
tuloy nila.
Tuloy kita, may ito sa
Hindi mo na serve.
we can when you go for their lunch. And don't worry na friends with me which for me it's a very good learning, very good exposure. And then I learned that. So when I go with them, or when from school to workplace, semi-curly, volleyball.
Hindi mo sana yung tanan.
Claro, se me dá buquê, me dá what do you want? I said, it's okay, just get it on, just get it on. And I said, sure. I said, I'm good. So, claro, and then, okay, you offer, that's it. And then also, like, if they're going into, to buy, like, sabole sa mga camera, boleh na that kind. And for me, it was good learning. But seeing on the top. But I'm really glad that around of you, it just like I was ni bola meba, I was saying susu waka lele say susu ba ito okay. Around go fitting na mula but then bolondondu and I know, I asked them about how they do this saving. So with the way that I was brought up, I would say was good, but being exposed to these people and asking them questions and learning from them, I learn more. And I learned more that it's amazing that when you assumed, that they are, but it's just the way that they handle their little finances that come by. And this is one good example. We have the company that I was speaking for before, basically airport, it's an airline. And when we go for meetings, from the hangar to the airport, and they have the airport car park fees. So you take in a company car, and the company car has got a card for the fuel or whatever that comes with it, but it doesn't have anything to do with the car park fees. So if you go there and have your meeting for 2 to 3 hours, that's it. You come, you pay. And for me, like if I come up there, that's it. Come give back the key to whoever's handling, or give it back to the PA of that GM's car. And that's it. Because I know I took it up for the meeting and I used it for the meeting and it was my meeting, then I paid for the fees. And one time, because that was not for me, one time I was actually standing there with this personal assistant and just standing, I was standing behind her at her counter. Then I saw this, senior manager came in. We claim whatever you use in the company. For that time, we use Petty Cash. I think some companies are still using it. It's Petty Cash voucher, and then you have to attach the proof of your spend. So I was sitting there, and I saw this. She came in. She just gave this Petty Cash voucher, and she said, "Jessica, I need that money. I need that money today, if you can." So I look at and I said, "Oh, okay." I look at Jessica, I have to quickly do this. And I look at her and said, Jessica, sorry to be, it's none of my business. Is there what I'm looking at? What you looking at? And she said, what are you looking at? I said, it's voucher. Yeah? This voucher of $1.96. What is it? He said, it's for the parking fees.
At the airport.
At the airport. Okay. Like all the parking that you go and take it for the meeting, you can claim that. Because you didn't go there for your own leisure. You didn't go there for you to just meet up your friends. You went there for meeting that is pertaining to the company that you work for. And you can get there. I said, I've been going to that meeting, to that airport and taking the company car parking there for the last 2 years. I've never claimed anything. Like, it's mind-boggling. I'm looking at this, my payment voucher, it's $1.96. And so I came and I followed this man, and China said, sorry, I know it's none of my business, but I want to ask you, do you feel a payment voucher for $1.96? She'll be watching me today and she will know this day. And she came to me and said, yeah, so. And I said, it's only $1.96. And she looked at me, she said, Rachel, every dollar adds up to $10, and every $10 adds up to $100, and every $100 adds up to $1,000. If you cannot look after the $1 and claim and take ownership of that $1, how can you make your $10 and how can you make your $100? That got to me. Because she turned around, like for me, I was trying to indirectly tell her, wait, when you take back your payment voucher, take it out. Your petty cash for a voucher. Because it's like $1.96. But the response she gave me, dawned on me that I was losing out because it's just us, PGN. All Sarote, Kulilaga, set. Set. But in the one of the look at the way I get kami ko kay Dio kaya laban ito pag gusto sa kanila Mrs. Patel. Sa sa kanila ng Kasilip. Ito Mrs. Patel. Kalau ito mo na. Ni was pas lang ko nakabago. Sa bulan na bulan ko na Mrs. Patel mo na. Kung dikito may malangi. Marres sa ni Pela mo. Buli kino na nito mo to ka na Mrs. Patel. Ako kakay na doon sa wala. Biwalik ata. Nandong rambula. Nandong rambula. Sa bayan ng katibo. They are achieving things. Then maybe for us, it's about time. We cannot continue to stand on the side and watch them and make fun of them while they are achieving and having a good life. We must tell ourselves, I own that, that can happen to me too. And you really need to join them to do whatever they're doing, but create something on your own to say to yourself, I can also achieve. And I believe most of you listening to us today, you've already done that. I am so excited and humbled. I have a friend, her name is Anna Tuimana, she lives in America, and she used to share with me about her family. And there's only 2 girls in the family. And she said, what amazed me, not really committed to the church, but now they are in the Methodist church. And she said, growing up, I grew up because I was singing maybe in Matumale. And then she said, from a very early age, they buy, properties, they buy land. And now their children have grown. One has just graduated as a doctor. One went overseas to study like an accountant. And all these properties that they buy over there, and she said, on how they manage their funds well. In their home, and one of the investments that they've done way back is where we used to go there, down LC in Namaka.
Yeah.
So now they managed to put up an apartment there, like apartment for Airbnb or people to come and rent. They managed to do that and send his children. And she said, what amazes her on how they always manage their finances. They both work, very good decisions, and now with all their children, deployed and everything, but and she said one thing that she noticed, they don't like splashy just go out and live the way they want, considering the amount, the level that they in, and the finances or the payroll that they in, like on how they manage their finances.
I mean the lifestyle that we live, but sometimes it gives us like that if we save, then it does not match with our culture.
Yeah.
Tu kita memandi, kita save, kita roka, itu kaya tu, kaya cari sedikit na di baru ni pula mereka na communal living da pulih kita koro everybody for everything.
Yeah.
Okay,
But that belongs to you.
Iya, okay, tu si kita tahu dia terata ke, itu nak apa balikiko, kita belum tahu baca, ke sana kita nanti kita belum mula, kita sambil itu kita belum, nah, balik itu tu, mereka terata ke sudah kan, kita belum tahu baca, kita bulan baca, sawat tidak mana ni, kakek dia bangun kakek dia, sawat tidak bulan ni, kakek dia nonda, sawat tidak mana. Kita satu tayo na makanan ko talaga. Dahil mo sa atin ko kaya kaya namin sa o mo din mga tara pero to sumay ko na rin matatabaka. Na naman muli din so na dahil mo na. Ngayon na makakalimutan na mga mula. Ikaw man sa mga tuhawas sa. Pero sa kina narawa ka. Na sila kinarakan dito kinigere, nagalita ka pala tayo bira, ero mula ni Mike.
Yeah.
Basta mo nang isip ko yung namamaro. Doon na kaya ko kayo mo, di ko marui ako, so na bisisi. Gero na ikaw, magay tumikan na da suya, me lutu so non da elo matua, basta na yung na ikaw talaga may sitwasyon. Dali bitu tu kilo magay yung non da yaw, da silika na bisisi. O kasi doon na ikaw na nila. Kaya wala sinyal mo to non da bisisi da magulesi na di ba to ka tayo pakila ko na sa linya de na sa tangan ni ba pwede mena ni ramon ni sino kaya ba doon a lifestyle that we need to change to adjust to the time that we live in.
And also, I mean, there's quite a lot of achievers and business investors here in the E2K, at least short time like notice, and it will be beneficial, for just for them to share that knowledge with our people. And there's a lot of people now that are doing their own personal business. Bali ni may mga nabikin na COVID, libo na kaya, right? Libo na marama na tigo na sana kaya na kakadilikan. The business, you don't have to wait to be big or create something big. You start small, whatever that you can do. Like I always say that I sell hot dogs. I make rotis at home because even though I was working in an airline, I was getting a good salary on that airline. There are some things that I want to do in the house, or extend our home, or tile our house, or paint our house. There are some things that they cannot fit in your budget. So I look for all these little things that I can do and sell. They bring in money a little bit faster for me to achieve the project that I aspire for. So don't wait until your money becomes the money that you're looking for. Whatever salary that you're getting, or even if you're not getting a salary at all, you are full time. Create little things that you can rake in. Don't look for big money. Start with small money, because those small money add up to be big money. So whatever money that you can come by, try and work on that, and make sure. I always be a strong advocate to advise all of us, always write a list. Because without the list, the tendency to go beyond your list is always there. Like for this trip, every time we always come out, because I try as much to bring my grandchildren and bring my family. The last time we came in December, I took money out from their savings. They have their own individual account. And I said, okay, Nana doesn't have that much money for your spending. Now your spending will come out from your own savings. So I went to all their, my daughter handles their cards and handles their account. So we got money from all their account and telling them, whenever you're using this money, know that you're using money from your saving. And we give them that. So when we give them or sign off their, their portion, that my daughter religiously do very well with reminders. And when we sign off, they're not given the full amount, so they will be given like half. If they given half and being briefed. So what I always tell them, look, write your list, because the impulse as you go to buy the things you never plan to buy, you will end up buying. Write down your list, and sometimes when you come back home and you check your list, the things you really need, you didn't buy. The things you don't really need because your eyes just see and you like it, and then you buy. But when you write your list, you'll go and say, this is how I always train them. Write down your list and you go searching for your list. If you can't find it in this place, and you say, okay, I can't find what I'm looking for here, so we'll take it to another place. You go to another place. Work according to your list. After your list is picked, everything, like if you're looking for long pants, this is the type of long pants I'm looking for. If I'm looking for certain kind of shoes, this is the shoes that I'm looking for, sneakers, and the cost, and then you put a budget. When you write, do your budget assumption. How much money, with the money that you've been given, how much money you want to allocate on those needed lists that you've written. And that will give you an indication. When you actually find it, then you ask yourself, is this the one? Is it within the budget allocation that I've given this amount to spend on this item? So there will be a thing. If it's not, then you ask any other place that is cheaper than this place. This is my budget for it. I'm looking for something that just falls within this budget. And that's how you look after your finances. So after all your need is picked, and then you look at your spare or the leftover money, that's when you can go and look out for your wants, the things you don't really need. And then depending on the amount of money that you have left, then you go looking out for those things for you to get and for you to buy. That's how you manage your finances. When you travel, I'm talking about when you travel, like we had our team that is with us, we did the same with them as well, giving them money. For those of you that travel to Australia and New Zealand, I would recommend Kmart is the place to go. Because Kmart, it's like you can, shop for your whole house and for shop for your whole family at a very economical, the best cost that you can use. And because you have good shoes, you have good sandals ranging from $5, $7, or even on the red tag. When it's red tag, it's 50%. Go right down to $4 for a pair of nice glittery sandals for girls. And you have sneakers, and like it's very, very economical, and it fits the budget. And when you shop for, it's like that money, if you take to one shop, can be just for a few items. But if you take it to Kmart with all your list, your wife, your husband, or your children, like it caters, for the same budget. So those are the little tips and the little things, like what I said, like what he mentioned. You may be getting a lot of money through your pay, and then you say to yourself, no, I have a lot of money, I don't really need to go to that kind of shop. I can go to that shop. Yeah, that's your choice because it's your money. But if you do think the other way around, if you go to that shop, still get the same things, and you save that money that you save goes towards something else that you can still achieve. And if you add on all those saving, it's amazing on how much you can be able to save. And goes back for us in Fiji. For the little money that you can save, I want to remind us, now it's April, how much have you managed to save starting from the beginning of the year? And for those of you who have written out your passport, I know immigration has been closed for a while, and now they've just opened on the 25th of March. How many of you have managed to do your passports? And also the driving license. How many of you have managed to achieve that or work towards that? Classes that you've been already taking, have you started your classes? Have you got your learner's permit? Or for those of you that are on the P, how many more months do you have left for that provisional license to end? And you must book your DDC, because after the DDC, then that's when you get your full license. And for your full license, don't just go for the 1 year, which is about $13 or $14. I don't know whether that's changed. But write it down. Before your provisional license expires, you still have a month out, write it down. That when you do sit for your DDC, what are the costs that is involved? The booklet, what is the cost for that DDC? Write it down. I'm talking to you if you know that you don't have that kind of money just available for you to do that, and you're waiting for somebody to do it for you, or you're already giving up. I will not do it because I just don't have the money today. Write it down. And when that comes, and then you also ask for the license. The license in Fiji, to the most, they can give for 6 years. So for 6 years, I guess you pay about, nearly 100 or more than 100, and you write that down. So as you're coming towards the end of your provisional license, you know how much it takes. You already work towards that, you're saving towards it. And for those of you who work, that's fine, you get money. But I'm talking to you if you know you're struggling to save that kind of money. And when you actually do your DDC for that all-day course, make sure you get your license for 6 years. So you don't have to be worried, when does your license expire? Like for me, the only thing that I capture is the ending, like when does it expire? So what year does it expire for my 6 years? Since I've got my driving license, I've just been doing it for 6 years, and now I'm doing it for my grandchildren that are getting their license after DDC. And it helps because for 6 years you don't have to worry that it's my driving license still current. And it works. So those are little things, little plans for you to work towards. And it may sound difficult, give up. Don't give up on yourself or to say that you cannot. You can, and you can go out of your way to do it. You can sacrifice some of the little things that you always do and spend on, and save that money towards this cost. Kaya kondo lang ko na kabago, ikaw rin nga naman same budget, yung ganyan kami ko, okay, already, kung hindi na kabago naman taong ko, save bulan ko, I can, don't go out and save this money, all this budget allocation. So you just take the same money that you already have, the same money that you already allocated, and just reshuffle whatever that you've written, and use the same money for your other achievements or other things that you want to achieve. On top, in addition, to your current. So yeah, those are the tips. I love talking about money. I love talking about how to save money because I've come a long way doing that. I've seen the fruits, I've seen the rewards, and I know the challenges, and I know the itchiness when you know you're saving. I know that feeling when you're running out of money and you need to pay your bills and you know you have your money there. I know what that how that feels when you just want to go and bust open your saving and get the money to solve your problem right there and then. But for me, the added bonus that I have is my faith that I serve a living God. And for you Christians, that's an added bonus because when you know you believe in a God that provides and this supernatural power that can help you to achieve the things you have on your list that you don't have enough for, it's amazing. And that's another story. But for those of you who do not believe in God and you're just working basically physically with the things that you are receiving, then this is the way to go. You just need to say to yourself, no, I'm not going to touch that saving. I'm not going to touch that. I don't go like I don't have anything. And you pray only then you are able to save. Because if not, the need, the requirement, the cost of living that comes in daily, weekly, and monthly, the cost is always there. How you meet that cost, it's pulling from all different directions apart from your pay, and it's crashing onto your savings. That's why people hardly save. There's a lot of us, we don't even have saving. We've worked for years, we don't even have saving. A lot of us, I believe I can say that. One, because of our cost of living and the things that we do is so demanding, it chews into our finances.
It's also the way that we peer pressure.
Yeah.
Things about our neighbors and what people say on you and this. We are so concerned about the outside pressure, and we are not looking into what we can do for our life, especially for family. And that's one of the problems that is really a challenge to us in Tauke. Because most of the time we want to live according to what other people that they set a standard. But for other reasons, one thing that I've seen, they could care less what the people would say. They can stay on their own, they can live on their own. Communal living is not part of their life, even though it does not take away that they have brothers, they have sisters, they have relatives. But when it comes to running your family, when it comes to running your finance, they are dependent on them. And for us, we take we take the relationship into another level, and we are expecting people to look out for us. We are more like takers than givers. We love to hang on to depend on somebody to look out. And that's why we can't save. We are not strong. We are not confident to live a life that we are alone. So when we go overseas, for those of you that are watching, living here in New Zealand or living in Australia or maybe in Europe or in America, most of the time we are living in overseas, but we live a lifestyle in Fiji. And it's very challenging for us to grow and to achieve in business, in family, or even into academic, because we live overseas, or maybe for the islanders, we come to Suva, but we don't live that island living. We are in a different environment. We are in a different nation. Here we are in a different country. So we have to do like them for us to survive in that area or in that nation. And so many years, some live overseas, but they struggle along, even though they own good jobs and they've been receiving for their salary. But the fruit of their work is not seen. Why? Because we don't want to come away from that lifestyle that only suitable in certain areas.
In certain countries.
Where there's a saying, when you in Rome, you live like a Roman. So when we come overseas, if you want to achieve overseas, because of the competitive pressure that is in, you cannot afford to continue to be laxity, going to work, take things as they are, and not achieving. The bottom line, we are not achieving because we have that laggard attitude.
I think it boils down to the fact that you need to have a plan. You need to have a plan, because if you don't have a plan, then you are just living normal, like
You're flowing.
with no vision. So if you have left home, and that's one thing that for those who have come in for NAC and the seasonal workers, we belong to a church, and there's quite a fair bit of church members that we belong to that have come across to New Zealand as the seasonal workers, and also for Australia as through the NAC, or for this PALMS agreement with the three countries. And one thing that I've always really saw as a man, the practicality of how you live. When you are back at home in Fiji, you sit down, you do your plan. The plan is, okay, when you go, you're going to earn that kind of money, you're going to finish, building a house here in Fiji. Everything is done in the plan. And I'm sure for those of you that are tuning in today who have left Fiji shores through this program, you had your plans. Maybe you're back another one kaya may tuso na banana nili biuki bay nakita se tara na normale may nakoro beka se na mo ra tuko kina be na no ni tubutuwe ito na ka kami ni tuwana ni gara ni kami tapos sumay se nila ko may time when you actually arrive here, then maybe sometimes it doesn't really work out the way you had planned. Na plan lang may bali, plan with prayer, plan with you plan with your family. And then you're being thrown into to a totally different atmosphere. An atmosphere that you have people that you've never met, have never lived with, but you're staying in the same premise, you stay in the same place, and you work together. So they become your family, whether you like it or not. They become your work family. Because you see them, you breathe them, you eat with them, you see them all the time. So they are your work family. And this is the strength and the wisdom that you must have to rise above the circumstances that you're in, to remember the family you left back at home. Melihat kamu pesan ini namanya, maka kini kau plan terbiar, wajah, sekarang ini boleh biko, berarti sampai tiko beli tiko, dua kali na matuwali po. Pero sekarang kan dia ni nama matuwali, sama matuwali po, bobi ko na nakakita. So someone that like culture shock because they need like tango, like you're new today, and then someone in that bago ni so binaka ng muno, so binaka ng tobacco, so binaka ng kakina, everything is cheap. So when I love when the tubo na kamay the planta kamay ng in the baby may baka may way na. But sa tibutali na ng work family, you have your work family. And you are being, attracted to all these things that you never knew that there is here. And now that you're physically here, you can see for yourself. You forget about everything else at home, and you're living your life for yourself. And some of you are going that way, and take you maybe months or years of mistakes and wrong decisions to faithfully. Sometimes you can turn around and come back. Or some of you, that's it. That's your new life. Forget about the old life. There was one stage, second stage, or phase 2, you're living on. Some of you are in that area. But some of us are quite strong. I saw a coverage in the papers about this young lady when the PM Rabuka came across on how he came and meet some of his workers. And there was a story of this young lady that was being pictured together with Rabuka on the, in the papers as I read. And I was really, for me, really humbled with that, because her story was when she came across, she planned to, send money back home to build a home for her parents. And having that politic on the day, she said, now it's nearly finished, my parents are about to move in. Some of you are like that, you're very strong-minded. You come with a purpose, and you stay with that purpose, and you make sure that you, achieve whatever that you have planned. So some of you are in that category. So there are different categories of people out there on how you are managing your life, how you manage your finances, how you managing what you are managing. But for us, when it comes to the church, and because we had quite a few church members that have come across on the same program, and for New Zealand, I remember, I think 1 year ago or 2 years ago, we had this meeting that we always call it administration. And we just, call out this, you'll hear on this program, this is not work. So one thing that you must ask yourself, with this contract, 3 years or 2 years or whatever contract that you sign up for, what is it? What is your plan? Now that you've tasted it, now that you're here, now that you've seen it, are you going back, or would you like your family to join you? Those are the questions that we begin to ask them. And if they say, oh, we would like our family to join us, then we take the names down and it becomes a prayer request that one day the family will come across and join them. And it's amazing. For those few families that we have put their names down, we have prayed for, most of their families are here, they've joined them here. So those are the things that you need to do. Don't live out of hanging on to the plan you had, or you did, or you made years back, and you know fully well that plan is not working out. You have to replan. If that plan was, and now you're here, things have changed that you never anticipated, then you need to change that plan. If this plan was send money home to build a house at home in Fiji, and you're going back, and you know you're not going to go back, you're liking the life here in Australia or in New Zealand, and you love the life that you're living, then you need to change that plan. Change that plan to move your family across. Write down the list and get your family across. And don't rest there. Check the system on how, with the current visa that you come into that particular country, what do you need to do? Maybe a bridging visa or whatever. You have to get the correct factual advice on how to work towards the visa that you currently have, towards your PR, or what you need to do. Those are the things that you need to write down, bear in mind, and work towards seriously. So, because if you're seriously bringing your family across, and you're seriously staying in the country that you've chosen, and in Australia, New Zealand, then you need to be serious with the requirements that is outlined, and you need to meet all those outlined. You need to take them, and you need to work towards it. Because after you get that and manage to get your PR, and get it also for your family, then it changes your whole plan. In the initial plan, for you to go back home and be at home. So don't just wait and rest there. Then, since you're not building in Fiji, then this is the country that you've chosen. And you write down, I need to buy a house, or I need to build a house. And you write that list. Some of you may take 5 to 10 years, some of you may take longer, but you need to plan. And you need to plan. You cannot be renting all the time. For Australia and New Zealand, you pay your rent weekly. For America and England, it's monthly. But for weekly, say if you pay your rent for $500 a week, imagine, for a month of 4 weeks, that's $2,000. And a month of 5 weeks, that's $2,500. And if it's more than 500, that's even more. If it's 600, 700, that's more. And that's the thousands that you're giving, paying for your rent, for your dwelling, roof above your head, and for the whole year. Do that mathematics, do that calculation. Because not until you do the times, the pluses and the equals and whatever that you do, when you look at the whole figure, then it takes back to the conviction of a small figure you're paying in a month. If you just say, oh, it's all right, I'm only paying $300 a week, oh, it's $400 a week. When you say $400 a week, $500, $600 a week, the wrong line. But when you say $2,500 or $3,000, $4,000 a month, then you're going to get and we were doing that. We were actually at this place, Edgebury Place, before we went to the airport at SFO. And I know the ladies, if you're listening today, you'll be testament to this. And we had this group of ladies in America that we were sitting talking about this very thing on how to, save their money, how to work towards. We were having this conversation, and then I asked, and I said, "Oh, how much is that? How much is your rent? Oh, I'm paying about like this amount, 1,000, some 2,000, a month, and there's another one 5,000 a month, depending on the complement of their house, how huge the number of rooms." And they said, oh, okay, so how do people pay your rent? Like monthly or weekly? And said, oh, it's monthly. Oh, that's good. Like it's $1,000 something a month. And then I was telling them, for Australia, New Zealand, it's weekly. So if you actually if you say, oh, you pay $1,000, how much is your rent? Oh, it's $1,500. And how much is yours? Oh, mine is only $700. And then the second question you ask, 700 what? 700 a week or 700 a month? 1,500 what? A week or a month? So if they say 1,500 a month for America, And England, that's it, it's a month. But if you say $700 a week here in New Zealand and Australia, then you have to times the 4 and times 5 for the month with 5 weeks. So the amount is huge. And say like just for the basic, if you take 2.5, which is like 5 weeks, and which is not normal, maybe 3 or 4 months in a year that has 5 weeks. So on the average, you work on a 4. And if it's a $500 rent a week, $2,000 a month, and for the whole year, there is about 24,000 plus the one with the 5 weeks that can take you up to about 27,000, and it's for the whole year for rent. So that whole year for the rent, and then you calculate how many years you are here or you have been here. 5 years, and then you multiply that. So when you multiply 5 years or 6 years for the rent you have paid, then it gives you that figure that you managed to pay this amount for this number of years, or for this rent for this month. It's hard for you to think, okay, I can put aside this money, or I can save this money. But because if you don't pay your rent, you are evicted, or you cannot stay there longer. So it makes you pay because you pay, and that house doesn't belong to you. At the end of the day, it goes back to the owner. And one of my friends that I heard here in New Zealand, we went to their place and they said, the landlord comes every now and then. They come every now and then to check on the house. Because it's theirs, it's their property, so they check on the house. There's certain things you can't put up on the wall. You cannot nail the wall. There's certain things you look after the house because you're staying in a house that is not yours, but you're paying the rent for that house. So for food for thought, they can do go. Start writing down. Ask questions. Don't just give up on the fact that it's so little. How so little? Find out how so little. You need to get your facts. Don't go by assumptions. Don't go by hearsay, and don't say the things they say. And they've been saying it for years, and you've become part of it to add onto the group to say the same thing. No. You stand still and get the facts. Get the facts. Is it really, really expensive to buy a house? And is it cheaper for me to buy a piece of land and build a house? And then if you go to church and you trust in God, then you write it down as your list. Yeah. And then you work towards it. That house wouldn't just happen overnight. You need to plan it and work towards it. So if you're eating out nearly every day because of food is strict to eat out, reduce that eating out to maybe 2 times only in a week. And still eat out in the month, which means money that I'm going to be spending out, eating out, I'll put it aside, but put it in a money box or put it in an account that you will not access. So you're still living your life like you are eating out, but you're reducing the eat out, but you're taking the same finances and you put it in that funds. Because that helps either staying up to the deposit that is required, or whatever financing that is needed for you to buy a house. That's one thing that I will always push, and a strong advocate when it comes to this, because dwelling you cannot run away from. Car you can go without, but the house you cannot, which means you will pay whatever it costs for you to be alive, to be living, to be in a place. You're going to stay around for a very long time. You can't stay with the family for a very long time because it's their space, it's their family. You will need to find your own dwelling, you will need to find your own house. So if you're starting off by renting in a small place like a studio that can, make do, then, your family's with you, then look for a place. Because the same money you pay for your rent, at least you go towards your loan or go towards your financer, but at the end of that property belongs to you, written to your name. And if you move on, it belongs to your children. If you don't have a family, then it's something for you to sell. And it becomes an asset to you. Yeah, so, those are the tips for those of us that left home and living overseas and abroad. Kapini ko bebele na naman ito kina tarongan na visa ba ito ko tataki ko may dono no visa mo tu wakali libo no do dono and na mating tu ko kina tataki ko beke na malo tu ko kaya era rosare ko wala na nulis ko maslaka balata na kalo ri buki kena na nanda ngangre kena bi kalalai ni nonda bu balata ni da vaka like you ko abring ko ni
Ni tu weekend na ni sa sama. Kena do beta to so ito bena do na level kita.
Yeah.
Da ona sa kini weekend na ni sa sama. Kena ba ito bago.
Yeah.
But na lew na na ko bibitula na ikut plan eh. When you plan,
Yeah.
you are making your mind to work
Yes.
because you want that plan to come to pass. Eh? So you will continue to work, you will continue to think
Yeah.
because there's a plan to be made. Yeah.
Because when you mention that, like you said, you continue to think, yeah, because the plan is already there, it will convict you.
Yes.
So if you're going out of your plan, when you know, okay, I need to save, $50, $100 this way, but sometimes you use that money elsewhere. But because you have a plan,
You will
you'll be
pay back.
convicted. Bakit mo feel that send na it's supposed to go towards that cost.
And that's why it's very important the environment that you in,
And the people
the
that you
friends
surround
that you
yourself,
keep. Because the friends that you keep is
Very
very important because they influence you.
Yeah.
And sometimes we can only do ni can na song na gito. E loro che noi tao tutti e da si rida da non dovessi mataka. Me dalla realtà che non attagli nel bulo.
Yeah.
But everybody has same just as long as we have a place to sleep,
Food
food on the
to eat,
table.
yeah.
Maganda sa amin, thing to have.
Yeah.
And so we can sasama
For that time.
for better and for our siblings that we have and also our children that will join us later.
Yeah.
Kembali na boleh weekend and another may travel kaya na lang tigo mo na travel na makamay na una na lang may kina ni the travel tigo na mo tigo kaya to sa tigo na tuno mo kina tuno mo
Yeah.
jadi the to sa na to sa pinakita ito nga sa tarin ng ito nga ni beso tuno mo na ni beso ka na nakili mo na ito. So whenever we go from place to place, remember, they are not the same. So our wisdom need to rise to another level.
Yes.
Our maturity need to go to another level.
Self-control.
And the wisdom kaya mo tua, hindi mo chutan na level. But uno kaya kita lang kaya ito talaga. The son of Paris, kaya tayo kasi.
Yeah.
And we believe whatever we share this morning.
Yes.
Will be very beneficial to those of you that are watching. But some of us, we are already there. Congratulations.
Yes, yeah.
Some of us, we are even better than what we
Yes,
are sharing today. But for those of us that we find it very new, and sometimes we say that we cannot be achieved, no, it can be.
It can be, yeah.
We can learn something New Zealand. Nada mas interron di roa kaki na. Wati kira satu mo New Zealand. We can to Australia. Nada mas interron di double property kina. Tutto quanto che era stato nello schermo è bravo. Ma le volevo salvare una una financial institution che davano di loan. Magari le volevo che non dovrebbero molto da loan, da commitment, ma le volevo che se la capita da weekend da le volevo che la per weekend da roba. Wow, la so di sera. We need to live to plan out tomorrow, even though we are living for today.
Yeah.
And our weekend che va a tutti, non detto tu se stavo parlando, da buona cara vicina, che da buona.
Well, that's food for thought for us. Today we're coming towards the end of our program. We would like to, wish you all the best in everything that you desire for your family. It's always a family table talk, everything about the family. Look after your health. Check on your resting time, like I will share all the time. That is my challenge. I'm really enjoying it here with my family. That I'm actually finding some time to rest, and I'm enjoying my sleep as well. So reminder on your life, on your health, and also on the food that you eat. Just be guided. And if you know you feel you've eaten a lot of too much oily food in the week, try and refresh it with boiled food, with boiled soup. Boiled soup, you cannot go wrong with that. It's beautiful and it's nice in whatever weather. And those are the little things that you just need to remind yourself. Or the portion that you're taking, if you have heard of your doctor's things that you're not supposed to be taking, and you know you have error by doing it, try and correct it. If you know, like I think my youngest granddaughter on the other night, she came on and this and that and that and said, look, you're taking too much candies. There's so much candies, you're taking too much candy. Well, away from home, it's not a line here. So make sure you drink a lot of water. So yesterday she was busy eating her gumballs. This is this small thing that she finds, and playing around with it. It comes out in a small gum, but it's like a small machine. And when I was looking at her eating it, I said, remember, instead of drink my water, yes, drink your water. So whatever that you eat the candy, you drink water. And those are the little things, that we need to remind ourselves that we are doing. And take a lot of water. Hydrate yourself as much as possible. Weather is unpredictable. Sometimes the sun is really nice and scorching hot. And sometimes you have your rain, it can be raining, but it can be dehydrated even during rainy days, and because of the lack of water or intake that you take. So just a reminder on your health habits, on your rest, and also your family time. This is a family table talk. I would like to remind you, allocate some quality time with your family, quality time with your spouse, quality time with your children, quality time with your whole family, that you can sit together. It doesn't necessarily need for you to take them out or spend a lot of money on it, just like last night. Last night, everybody just bring their cup noodles. It's like do your own, DIY, do it your own, do it yourself for the dinner. Everybody doing their own cup noodles, and including us, we come and we do our own, just a peeling of egg. I have to ask my daughter-in-law to peel the eggs out for us, and it was nice. So it's not what we ate, very economical, very cheap, but it was the atmosphere that's created. Great atmosphere, just a family time, family bonding that you can be yourself. So look for that. If you don't experience that, try and at least allocate one day in a week for that. For those of us in the church, reminder from the church that we belong to, at least allocate 1 or 2 days in a week if you're really, really busy. To sit down with your family and pray together as your devotion. So those are a few reminders that we want to leave with you. And spend your money wisely. Ask yourself 3 times before you open your wallet. Whatever that you see, you ask yourself, do I really need it? Can I go without it? And if I don't buy it, will I die, or will this do anything to me? Those are the 3 questions that I ask myself. And phenomenal. Anything that I do, for groceries, for clothes, or wherever, whichever part of the country that I'm in, the people that I go out with, they know I'm from America. My daughter knows me too well. And whatever that I throw into that trolley will go to the far end of that shop. And I will go through again with my daughter standing there, and I said, do I really need this? And if we buy this egg or buy this amount, do we really need it? This is what we were doing last night. Even up to the cashier, we had to take out a few more bags of carrots, a few other things that we have to take back. And said, Carlos, take this back, take this back, take this back. I do that. I ask myself whether I should, whether I'm taking plenty or whether we can have that. And I ask that question to everything that I spend money on. So ask those questions, because they are good checklists for you. And by that time, it's amazing. Sometimes you ask the 3rd question, I'm going back to the shop to place that thing item back, because I answer myself. So those questions are very good to be asked, because it helps you save a few dollars. Yeah, on that note, thank you for joining us. All the best to the Drua. We're wearing Drua. And all the best to our Fiji Drua that out there, whatever game. I know there's a lot of controversy. People are talking about this and that and that. I mean, that's happened. And they're not perfect. And at the end of the day, they're still our team. When it comes to Fiji rugby or comes to Drua, they are still our people. And they have their own families. Whatever faults that they have, no one is perfect. And it doesn't take away that they are Fijians. It doesn't take away that they are the team for Fiji. So I'm proud. I'm not really a Drua. Yesterday I bought my jacket for Crusaders. I'm a Crusader fan.
I'm a blue.
And he's a
I cheer for blue.
So this place is Chiefs. So yesterday, even when I picked up the jacket for the Crusader and lining up to the cashier, she looked at me and she said, really? And I said, what? And I said, you are Crusader. You know that this place is for cheap. I said, I know this place is for cheap, but I'm buying Crusader and I'm wearing Crusaders. And but it doesn't take away that we are Fijians. We live in Fiji and Drua is there. So I'm proud of my country, and I'm proud of my nation, and I'm proud to be called Itoke. I'm proud to be called a Fijian, and that Fiji has the team called Drua, and we are your great supporters. We mention you in prayer because you are representing our nation. Even though we are, we have our likes of Crusaders and Chiefs on the side, it doesn't take away the fact that we are from Fiji. So all the best to the Drua, and all the best.
By this weekend and the next week they play Wellington, which is Hurricane.
Okay.
And the team never lose. They haven't lost this year.
Okay, that's the history.
That's one of the strong team this year. Normally, the previous years Chief, Blues, and Crusaders. They are normally on top. But this year, something amazing happened that Hurricane really picked up.
Oh, okay.
And last night, as
I don't really follow. Yeah.
Elijah was sharing that the Moana Pacifica beat Queensland Reds.
Yeah, that's the heavy watch.
Yeah, that's amazing. So
Well,
yeah,
they're meeting, which the team that they're meeting next?
Hurricane.
Hurricanes. Well, it's the history that they've never lost. We can be creators of history. So we don't give up. Whatever history they've created for themselves, Roa also can create that
I
history.
also take this time to send our regards to the preparation
Yeah.
of our sevens team.
Okay.
I know that
Yeah.
you are going
True.
through a lot of condemnation and ridicules from the people.
Sevens, eh?
Yeah. All the best to the next tournament in Singapore, to Osea, the coach, and
Yes.
to the rest of the team captain. Rabowo, we are here to say that we always support you.
Yeah.
Do your best when you're on the field, because when you win, Fiji win. So
Yes.
we take this time to say our good wish and regards
Yes.
to our sevens team, because they
Yeah.
will be preparing for the World Cup. I think the World Cup or the Olympics in France this year. So it's not an easy year, especially after 2 Olympics that we won. So it's a big challenge. The bar is set up there. So
For
all
them
the best
to- yeah.
to you.
Well,
All those
yeah.
other games that you will be playing this weekend, all the best to you from our program, Family Table Talk. Golf, swimming, volleyball, cricket, and congratulations to the team Kambara. Nobody in Fiji ever thought that a team from Lauinaki, Kambara Ko Namuka, that will win the last weekend tournament. So it's the first time. Normally it's either Kemba or Ono or Suba or Nandi.
Or the cricket.
The cricket. So congratulations
Yeah.
to Team Kambara, especially to Talpagasi Olau.
Yeah, also, so I think thank you to the Bosarong lawyers. I saw that big bold sponsorship for the Bosarong lawyers towards the cricket. Thank you for that. And thank you, Mrs. Sarah Bosarong and Philemon Bosarong for being able to do that, to identify. And
And to
also,
sponsor.
sponsor and place your finances
Yeah.
to help our islanders coming in to play the game. Well, to all of us in Fiji, let's always cheer for our teams regardless, whether they lose or win. Sometimes we are really, really out there when they win. Oh, bukan aku reti, bukan aku rokake, mama rau, give the count. Mama rau lusikin, kaya bukan the mood swings. Saya mama rau lusikin. Sono vossa sinto do metal, ou sinto que no Facebook, do uma da na carta de tal, tá. Sono vossa sinto do metal, sono na tamo na vossa dalile betovira. Na menanda no tipo era guerra no venda. E noi lubi viti. E tipo tá na normato bovani. Tipo tá lá na luvenda, tipo no timbre, tipo na non tubo tumbo. Niko ni da buto sono posta, ni da baka sa ka tipo. Na ngone da posta ka tipo tá na non bula, non normato bovani. E sorro da reda e tani na tamani ngone ani reda na kai tukuni abe malet na luvenda. Na tinani ngone basu do na ngone ya. E na tani to na dono no ya. Isa na luvendo. Sono ora andato da tu sono passando da Nadella di Zondro, ma la tenere melisi. Ho appena catagamo, I'm not a rugby enthusiast, like my whole family. They know all this like you can hear me. I don't even know. For me, I go for things for different reasons. And I don't even know what they're doing when I'm watching the game. I'm full of questions. And I know they hated watching the game because they are excited watching the game. And I'm asking the question, why are they doing that? Why is he doing that? Because I don't understand what's happening up there in the field. But I just want us Fijians or Fiji, whether our team win or whether they lose, let us support them and let us be at their back. Because we can have a lot of ideas on how they should play the game, but we are not the players. We are not the coach. We are not the managers. Can we just trust the coach and the management to do their job? And we trust the players to do their job. Whatever result that they bring forth, then we must be happy with them because they try their best. Yes, we can have a lot of things that we can say, but always remember, whatever you say, think twice before saying it, because it's bound to hurt somebody out there because they are not objects, they are just not numbers, they are humans and they belong to beautiful families just like you and I. So on that note, all the best to our Fiji and thank you for joining us and see you next Saturday.
A family is an epitome of God's love towards mankind. God designed us to live in families, and the Bible reveals that family relationships are important to Him.
But as a believer, do you feel that you're still struggling?
Maybe you're still struggling with your relationship,
Struggling with your finances?
struggling at work,
With your social life?
or with your spiritual life.
We invite you to join us
On our Family Table Talk every Saturday,
at 7:30 a.m. on My TV.
or catch us on our Facebook page.
I was born